On May 20th, 2025, Benjamin Donnie Richie's life came to an end. After nearly 23 years locked away on Indiana's death row, the sentence was carried out. A man whose story held pain, violence, and broken chances. Today, you will hear the full story. How a stolen van led to a deadly chase. The moment a police officer lost his life. The search that followed. The trial that divided community. The childhood that shaped a troubled man. We'll also explore what life was like for Benjamin behind prison walls. The unlikely connection he made from thousands of miles away. And finally, the last meal he chose, his final words before death. This is not just a story about crime or punishment. It's about the people caught in the middle, victims, families, and a man who faced the end. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind Benjamin Ritchie's final chapter. It was the night of September 29, 2000, in Beech Grove, Indiana, a small town shaken by events that would soon change lives forever. Earlier that evening, a white van was stolen from a gas station nearby. The theft was reported quickly. The vehicle was missing, and no one knew where it would turn up next. Officer Matthew Hickey was on patrol when he saw something that caught his eye. The stolen van was driving past an unrelated traffic incident. 3 men were inside. Without hesitation, Matthew ran the plates and confirmed it was the same van reported stolen. He called it in. The chase began. 2 more officers soon joined pursuit, Robert Mercury and William, known to friends as Bill Tony. The van did not get far. It crashed off the road, coming to rest in the yard of a quiet neighborhood. The doors flew open, and 2 of the men took off running. Officer Hickey caught one quickly, a man named Michael Greer. But the second man was different. Benjamin Ritchie, just 20 years old, ran hard and fast. Bill Tony gave chase. The 2 raced through backyards, jumping over fences, dodging playground swings, moving past sheds. The night air was tense and heavy. Then, suddenly, Benjamin reached for something. He turned around and pulled out a gun, a 9mm Glock. 5 shots rang out. Bill wore a bulletproof vest, but one bullet found its mark just above the armor, hitting his upper chest. He fired back once, but then collapsed to the ground. His legs gave out beneath him. His service weapon slipped from his hand. That night, Officer William Bill Tony died in that backyard. He was just 1 day shy of his 32nd birthday. Bill had a family, a wife and 2 young daughters waiting for him at home. He had only been a police officer for 2 years, yet he faced danger every day to protect others. Benjamin Ritchie, after firing shots, did something strange. He tossed away the wig he had been wearing, along with the gun, into a thick patch of brush. No one could say why he wore the wig that night. Maybe it was part of a plan. Maybe it was fear or confusion. Either way, he disappeared into the darkness. Against all odds, Benjamin slipped past the police perimeter and made his way to a friend's house. But the law was closing in fast. Over 100 officers, including SWAT teams, deputies, and investigators, launched a manhunt that lasted all night. Roads were blocked off. Neighborhoods were locked down. No one was allowed to leave until Benjamin Ritchie was found. Hours passed with no sign of him. Then a break came. An anonymous tip led officers to a house in the early morning hours. When they arrived, Benjamin was inside. This time, he did not run. He did not fight. He was taken into custody, without a struggle. The house belonged to Michael Moody, the 3rd man from the stolen van, who was also arrested. The manhunt was over, but the story had only just begun. Benjamin Donnie Richie was born on May 30th, 1980. But from the very beginning, his life was far from easy. He came into the world without the steady hands of father to guide him. His real father was a mystery, someone Benjamin would never know. His mother, Mary Martin, faced her own battles. She struggled with addiction to drugs and alcohol. Even while she was pregnant with Benjamin, she could not escape the grip of her addictions. Marion worked as a stripper, moving from place to place, never settling down. Her life was filled with chaos, uncertainty, and pain. By the time Benjamin was only 3 years old, Marion had abandoned him, not once, but twice. The little boy was left alone, with no one to care for him properly. Those early years shaped a child who would soon face hardship that most people could not imagine. School was not kind to Benjamin. From a young age, he acted out. His behavior showed signs of trouble. He found it hard to fit in, to focus, or to keep up. By the time he reached ninth grade, Benjamin made a choice. He dropped out of school. The classroom was not a place he could handle. When he was just 10 years old, the challenges in his mind grew heavier. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Doctors diagnosed him with bipolar disorder, a serious condition that causes moods to swing sharply from high to low. Alongside this, they noticed other problems in how he thought and learned. They believed much of this stemmed from the instability he experienced as a small child. Benjamin needed help, but the system, the very one meant to protect children like him, failed. Support was limited and care was not enough. The doors to healing remained mostly closed. Troubled and lost, Benjamin took a turn toward crime. Just after his 18th birthday, in August of 1998, he was arrested for burglary. This was the first of many brushes with the law. He was sent to prison, but later released on probation. Yet freedom did not bring stability. His life remained unstable. The weight of his past and the mistakes he made followed him like shadows. Drifting without direction, Benjamin was trapped in a cycle that seemed impossible to break. By the year 2000, he was still struggling, still on probation, still caught in a storm that would soon explode. The troubled boy had become a troubled man, and the night of September 29th was a moment when everything changed forever. Right after Benjamin Ritchie was caught, the wheels of justice began to turn fast. The prosecutors didn't waste time. They made it clear they would ask for the death penalty. They believed the crime was too serious for anything less. Benjamin, however, told a different story. From behind bars, he insisted the shooting was an accident. He said the gun slipped from his hand. He claimed it fired on its own multiple times while he was running away. His friend backed him up, saying Benjamin never meant to shoot. According to this friend, Benjamin was scared, panicking because he was already on probation. One more mistake could send him back to prison for many years. But the truth weighed heaviest on the family of Officer Bill Toney. In the courtroom, Bill's widow, known as Dee Toney, sat quietly through proceedings. Her heart was full of pain. When asked what she wanted for justice, her answer was clear. She said Benjamin must be executed. Nothing else could bring her peace. Benjamin's behavior in court made things worse. He interrupted often, speaking out of turn. At one point, when Dee called him a coward, he looked right at her and said a cruel word. It shocked many. There was no sign of regret, no apology. His lawyers tried to paint a different picture. They said Benjamin was broken. They said he suffered brain damage because his mother used drugs while she was pregnant with him. They spoke about the chaos in his early years, the pain and neglect that shaped him. They asked the jury to see him as a victim of circumstance, not just a criminal. But the prosecution stood firm. They said pain and hardship do not excuse taking a life. They told the jury that many people grow up in difficult homes, but do not become killers. This case was different. Benjamin Ritchie had killed a police officer in cold blood. Then, the prosecution shared a detail that sent a chill through the courtroom. Benjamin had a tattoo on his neck, the number 37. It was not random. That number belonged to Officer Bill Toney's police unit, a grim reminder, like a trophy, that Benjamin planned to carry with him for the rest of his life. After only 3 hours of talking, the jury reached their decision. Benjamin Ritchie was found guilty on every charge: murder, auto theft, carrying an illegal weapon, and resisting arrest. The verdict was clear. The punishment would be death. Life on death row is a place most people only hear about in stories. For many, it means cold cells, silence, and long days spent waiting. But Indiana's death row was different. Here, prisoners like Benjamin Ritchie were allowed small moments of comfort. One of the most unusual parts of Indiana's system was the animal companionship program. Inmates could keep cats inside their cells. These cats were not just pets. They were a lifeline. For men facing years of isolation and despair, the animals offered something real, a friend to touch, a soft presence to ease loneliness. The program was designed to help reduce stress and encourage better behavior. It gave men like Benjamin a reason to care for something other than themselves. For nearly 23 years, Benjamin remained on death row. Over that time, his lawyers filed appeals to overturn or delay his sentence. But none of those appeals succeeded. The courts refused to change the verdict or the punishment. Benjamin's time behind bars stretched on day after day, year after year. Then, something unexpected happened. Across the ocean in Sweden, a woman named Ivana watched a documentary about death row inmates. Something about Benjamin's story stayed with her. She reached out with letters. What began as words on paper soon grew into a deeper connection. Ivana decided to visit him in prison. Separated by glass and steel, they found a way to connect despite everything. Over nearly 4 years, Ivana made repeated visits. The walls and the sentence did not stop their bond. For Benjamin, these visits were a source of hope in a place where hope was scarce. Even as the end drew near, their relationship remained a light in the darkness. In the final weeks before his execution, Benjamin Ritchie made one last plea for mercy. He reached out to the parole board, asking for clemency. He spoke of regret, of sorrow for what had happened so many years before. He said he was not the same man who had pulled the trigger. He told them he wanted to live, to make amends, to offer something good before his time ended. But the plea was denied. As the date grew near, preparations began. Every legal step was carefully followed. Paperwork was signed, meetings held, and final checks made. The date set for the execution was May 20th, 2025. The prison grew quieter, the weight of what was to come settling over everyone involved. Benjamin was allowed one last meal. He chose dishes from Olive Garden, a plate of chicken parmigiano lasagna and fettuccine alfredo. Simple comfort food, perhaps a reminder of better times, or a small pleasure in a final moment. The execution began just after midnight. The room was calm and still. The mood was serious but respectful, giving Benjamin the dignity he deserved in those final hours. As the procedure started, those present watched in silence. The moments passed slowly, each one heavy with meaning. Before the end, Benjamin spoke. His words were short but full of feeling. He told his family and friends he loved them. He thanked those who had supported him. He said he hoped they all found peace. At 12:46 a.m., Benjamin Donnie Richie was pronounced dead. A long chapter closed, leaving behind a story of pain, loss, and the harsh reality of justice. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.